Hey all y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carrie.
Hey, something new is happening here, isn't it? Yes it is. Here's what's going on. I shot a video of me trying tablet weaving for the first time. It actually ended up taking 2 days to shoot, and it was over 4 hours of video, and I have been trying to get it edited down to a consumable length, an entertaining, consumable length, and frankly, haven't really been happy with the results thus far, but I don't want to give up on the video either, so I'm taking a different approach to how I present this video. I'm probably going to be interjecting myself more, like right now, into the video to talk more big picture about what it was like trying to tablet weave for the first time, and kind of just cut through a lot of extraneous stuff. There's lots of great videos out on the web if you want to dive deeper into this craft, but this video I really just want to focus on what it was like, the experience, the emotion of trying to tablet weave for the first time. So if you want to see my successes and my struggles, and there were struggles, well, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up, and let's try tablet weaving.
Tablet weaving is actually a really old form of weaving. There have been pieces of tablet weaving found dated back to the Iron Age. I believe I read the 4th century BCE. And what tablet weaving does is it uses cards or tablets to create a shed. A shed is something in weaving.
So here is where I went into a really probably unnecessarily long explanation of weaving and sheds. Long story short, so in weaving, usually what you'll have is you have vertical threads that are the warps, horizontal threads that are the weft. There's different ways that looms will take the warps, alternating warps, and pull them apart to create the shed. The shed is the space between alternating warps. A lot of looms use either some kind of string heddle or rigid heddle system to do that. In tablet weaving, cards with holes punched into them are used to separate out the warps to create the shed. Here are the cards that I made for tablet weaving. I will get more into how I made these later on in the video, but these are my tablets. Cute little puppy. Hello. It was very cute looking at these. The way this works is each card has 4 holes into it. 1 warp gets put through each hole. And depending on the colors that you put in each hole, you're able to create different patterns. Once all your warps are set up in the cards, and your warps are under tension, you then turn the cards, and that opens the shed of the weaving so you can pass your weft through. And then you turn your cards again, open a shed, and you pass the weft back through in the other direction. As you turn the cards, that actually twists the warps together. And the upshot is you end up with a fabric, a warp-facing fabric, where the warps get twisted together, so it creates a very strong, narrow band of fabric. Yeah, I'm going to stop because I can't go on too much on this. Trust me, I'm not going to make that mistake again.
The really nice thing about a craft that is quite ancient is that actually the tools are pretty basic. Not like pumpkin spice latte basic, but this is definitely a craft where, at least to get started, to try it out, to see if it's something you like or not, you can definitely do a lot of DIY, which I love. Got the DIY love. Boom, 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 boom. So what do you need to get started with tablet weaving? Well, frankly, not much. First, you need a set of weaving tablets or cards. Now, you can absolutely purchase these and you can get them relatively inexpensively. Like I saw a price range basically around $10 is what I saw online. I think I saw a set for as small as 7. I saw some up to $15. So buying a set of tablet weaving cards is not terribly expensive, but you can easily make your own with a pack of playing cards from the dollar store, and that is what I did. These are the cards that I made, and I have some footage of me doing it. Cards today, modern cards, the holes get labeled A, B, C, and D, and this is to help with the woven patterns that you see. And you can label them A, B, C, and D going clockwise, like I did, or you can label them going counterclockwise. But the direction that you label those holes will determine whether the face of the card that has the letter on them faces towards your right or towards your left. My cards, because I labeled them clockwise, are going to face to my right. The other thing is each card gets labeled with a number 1, 2, 3, etc., etc., etc. And again, that has to do with when it's time to work up your cards and creating different patterns. And of course, you need some yarn. You need a fairly sturdy yarn from what I understand with tablet weaving, because this weaving technique has a high abrasion. So you need a yarn that's going to stand up to a certain amount of abrasion. I picked out some of cotton yarn. This is the Premier Home Cotton. I've knitted with this before. Is this great for tablet weaving? I don't know yet. We will find out.
Spoiler alert, it worked fine.
There is a very old, probably one of the oldest forms of weaving called backstrap weaving method.
Again, let's get into a shorter explanation of what I originally did. Backstrap loom. Basically, you are the loom in the backstrap method. Your warps get tied to a fixed point on one end, and the other end of the warp gets attached to you in some form or fashion. So you don't need any fancy equipment for tablet weaving. You can easily use the backstrap method. I chose to use a C-clamp attached to my work table as my other fixed point in today's video.
Now, this is weaving. You might have heard of shuttles. Shuttles are used in weaving to hold the weft thread and to pass the weft in between the sheds of the warp. Do you need a shuttle for tablet weaving? Technically, no, you don't absolutely need a shuttle. I saw several videos, including from Viking reenactors, where they just had the yarn tied up in a butterfly and they used their hands to pack down.
You're going to hear me throughout this video say pack down the weft. That's not actually what weavers say. It's called beating the weft. Yeah, I remember I got to the edit of this video and I was like, oh my gosh. I said it every time. I never said beat. I always said packed. I always said it incorrectly. But hey, this is a new craft for me. I'm not going to get all the terminology right the first time. And if you're new to weaving, yeah, you know.
One of my goals whenever I do one of these, like, Carrie does what, is to see how inexpensively I can try a craft out for the first time. So I made a shuttle out of cardboard. I have no idea how this is going to work, but this is what I made. So we will see if this will work as my shuttle. If it doesn't, then I'll just go with the very ancient method of a weft bundle and then packing it in. So this is everything you need to get started with tablet weaving. I'm doing a 2-color pattern, so I got 2 colors of yarn. Hopefully this is enough. I think it will be. The first thing I need to do actually is figure out how many warps of each color that I need.
Okay, we're now going to get into the part of the video that has been kind of killing me in terms of trying to edit this down into a concise, entertaining, yet informative section. Because here's the thing about tablet weaving, and I think this is probably true of weaving in general. The thing that takes the most time is getting everything set up. That's the thing that takes the most time. You do not need to watch me figure out how many warps of each color I needed. Trust me, you don't. Or figure out the math of how long those warps are going to be. So I'm going to more quickly talk you through it than what I did while I was shooting. And this was a lesson to me that next time I do one of these videos, figure this stuff out ahead of time. So online, I found this sheet of free tablet weaving patterns. The one I chose to do is this triangle pattern, and depending on the direction that you turn the cards in, you can create this like series of triangles or diamonds. I chose to do the diamond pattern, and the way this particular pattern chart is set up is color A is the white boxes, color B are the X boxes. So to figure out how many warps I would need of each color, because I'm doing a 2-color weave, I just count up the boxes. So this grid is 8 columns across, so that means it's an 8-card pattern, but I wanted to have two selvages on either side, so I turned it into a 10-card pattern. 10 cards, each card has 4 holes. You put a warp through each hole. That means overall I would have 40 warps. After counting up my boxes, it turned out that I would have 20 warps of color A and 20 warps of color B. Yay! Simplicity! As for measuring out the length of my warp, well, I was aiming for about a yard of fabric. But I need more warp to actually do the weaving than a yard. So there's some pretty simple math that you can do to figure out the length of your warp. The formula that I read online was you take what you want the final length of your fabric to be, multiply it by 1.2, and then add about 20 inches to that. And then what that will do is it will account for what's called take-up, meaning as you weave, the warp actually shrinks a bit vertically. And it also accounts for waste. You're going to have some warp waste when you weave. Just the nature of the beast. So the upshot was I was going to need 64 inches of warp.
I'm going to set a C-clamp on one end of my desk. And then I'm going to measure half the distance that I need. Actually, I'm going to move this back here. Which is, so half of 64 is 32. The reason I'm going to measure half is because I'm actually going to go around in a circle. So each warp is going to be one wrap. Now, I could easily use the legs of my desk and have plenty of warp to get the yard that I want, but this way you can actually see what I'm doing. So to wrap my warp, I'm going to just tie one end over here. You know, no, I'm going to just do it this way. This is the way. And I'm just going to tie a little knot, a little half hitch knot. That's fine. And I'm going to now just wrap my warp. So that is one warp right there, okay? So I'm going to just keep doing this till I have 20 wraps. Here are my 20 warps. Now to get this off and to create actually 20 warps, I'm going to cut my threads. Now this was the side that I created the knot on, so this is the side I want to cut my threads from. I'm going to just take my scissors here and cut through. And now I have 20 warps. And let's cut that one too. There we go. So there are 20 warps. Whee! And I'm going to repeat that process with this now.
Let me tell you, measuring out the warps was actually rather soothing. I found the process kind of meditative. I liked the sound of the yarn coming off and going around. Unfortunately, because of my microphone placement, you were getting a lot of echo from like the desk, and I have since improved that situation. So I apologize for that audio there. But yeah, actually measuring out the warps was a pretty soothing process. It's what comes next. What comes next? I know it probably seems like I'm being dramatic right now, but
the way that this chart is written out and the way that you read it is basically along the side here, these are labeled A, B, C, and D. These 4 vertical squares here represent a hole in the card, and the horizontal boxes here represent each individual card. Now you're going to see something else on this pattern, which is right down here, and these are these slants. What is that? You may already be familiar with the idea in spinning yarn of S-twist and Z-twist. Well, in tablet weaving, there is also a twist that occurs. There's an S-twist and a Z-twist.
S-twist and Z-twist. Let's talk about it real quick. S-twist leans to the left. Lean to the left, lean to the left, lean to the left. Z-twist leans to the right. In tablet weaving, you have to thread the warps through the card either from left to right or right to left. If you want a S-twist, you thread the card from the left to the right, because it's to the left, to the left, to the left tweet. It's Beyonce. It goes left to right. If you want a Z-twisted card, you thread it from right to left. And the mnemonic, the thing you can always remember, notice like the S, this line here in the middle, right? It leans to the left. And the Z, do I have it the right direction? Yes, it leans to the right. Here's the really important thing to understand, however, with tablet weaving. One card, okay, has the 4 holes. All 4 holes have to be threaded in the same direction. If you thread 3 of your holes with S-twist and then thread the 4th hole with Z-twist, your card won't turn. So each card gets threaded in one direction, either left to right or right to left, S or Z. Now you know.
And I'm going to start with my card 1. Now my card 1 is actually not on this pattern because it's a selvage stitch. And I'm going to be doing the selvage with my color A, my blue color. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take color A, and I'm going to just pull a strand out from my neck. And I'm going to put color A with an S-twist through each hole. Okay, now I'm going to even up these ends and tie a knot.
And the knot will go on the left side of the card because this is an S-twist.
So that's card 1. I'm going to just paste that up like this over here to the side. Now we're going to go on to card 2. My cards are going one from left to right, so I'm going to follow the chart from left to right. So that is my S-twist. And so hole A is going to be color B, because the X's are my color B. So that's going to go into hole A. And then my 3 other holes are color A. So I will proceed doing it that. So 3 more. This is something I'd much rather be doing in front of the TV, if you want to know the truth. This is like prime TV, in front of TV activity. Or book reading. Oh, I could totally do this while listening to a book. I'm an audiobook person. What about you? Do you like audiobooks? I like audiobooks. What audiobooks do you like to read? I know some people think audiobooks is cheating. I don't. Audiobooks is a way for me to get more literature into my life. I love reading. I love to read. I've been a voracious reader my entire life. It's just between the crafting and the parenting and the wifing and the humaning, sometimes actually sitting down and reading a book is not like something I have a ton of time for. So those are all my S-threaded cards done. I'm now ready to start on my Z ones, and I'm going to actually take a moment and get my warp threads here a little organized.
Hello from the now. So yeah, I'm not going to show you warping the Z-twist cards because you get the point. You get the point. It's the exact same process, and it is tedious, like I said. You might be sitting there going, Carrie, though, you were really dramatic saying it was painful. Was that really so painful, warping the cards? It should be told, no, warping the cards themselves was not the painful part. That's coming up. I made a mistake earlier. It wasn't really warping the cards that was so painful. It was getting the backstrap set up and keeping the cards warped that was painful.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set one of my C-clamps on this side of my table, and I'm going to tie the ends with the knots onto that point, and then I will work on basically straightening out all the cards and getting all these warp threads organized. All right, so I have my C-clamp set there at the end of the table. I now have to get all my warp cards organized. So I'm going to start 10, and I'm just going to grab each one, make sure I have the letters lined up correctly and the numbers facing each other correctly, and I'm going to even up my knots, right? So my cards have gotten all jumbled in the process. This is correct. So, nope. Okay, so managing all the warps is a lot of work. Holy crap.
Yeah, so the tangling was real. I can't even remember how much time I spent just trying to get the warps untangled from each other and the cards in order and everything lined up correctly. And it was a lot of time. And that wasn't even the worst to come.
Okay. So I know this looks like a horrid mess right now, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these ends. My knots are fairly evened up. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to tie this in one big knot like this. And I'm going to take this knot and I'm going to put it over this C-clamp thusly. By the way, Edit Carrie here. My front camera, my face camera went out here, so all I have is the overhead, and the overhead camera was, the exposure was off, so I apologize for the crappy camera work here. So all that's tied off now. Now what I need to do is get all of my cards straightened out. So I'm going to grab card 1 here. All right, so now that this is tied over here, it's getting easier to kind of like get this straightened out because I can actually hold this with some tension.
Did I say it got easier once I got the warps tied off to the C-clamp? Yes, I did. Did that turn out to be true? No, it did not. No, it did not.
At least up through here. Wait, oh. Shoot. All right, I have a missing warp. How the hell did that happen? I can fix this. I just have to find it. All right. here's what we're gonna do. Get my warp straightened out again. Oh shit, now I'm all up. Okay. And 3 is missing a warp. How is... Oh my god, this is a mess. What did I do?
See, yes, somehow warps got pulled out of my cards, probably when everything was tangled up. Don't know how it happened. I spent so much, oops. Sorry, shook my cane. I spent so much time going through those threads, trying to find the warps that went into the right cards. So much time. I think it was a good hour of me trying to get the cards straightened out. And then I would think I'd get them straightened out. I think I'd get all the warps back into the proper holes. I'd go back through to try to set up again. And another card would have gotten warps out of it. I don't know how it happened. It kept happening, but it kept happening. If I do card tablet weaving again, which I think I probably will because it gets better. Let me just say right up front, it got better once things were set up. But I think how I would manage the warps next time would be different. I got to figure out the right way to do it because clearly I was not doing it the right way. Clearly I was doing it in a way that was causing me pain and suffering and made me like really question my life choices.
What you need to do after you get your warps tied off and everything is you have to start bringing your cards back like this to get the threads straightened out. So I started doing that, and as I got towards the end of doing this process, a couple of cards almost fell off. Things got tangled. It was a mess. I had to clean it all up. But anyway, I'm back at this point where I need to get the warp threads kind of straightened out back here. As I do this, though, I got to be careful that I don't take the cards right off the end and have to start this whole process again, because I do not want to start this process again. No, thank you, ma'am. So what I'm going to do now, I'm taking the cards and I'm bringing them back forwards, and I'm going to take this end here, and I'm going to tie, actually I want to even this out. There we go. I'm going to just take this and I'm going to tie a big knot. Like this. And tie all these ends together into a knot. Thusly. Okay. So now, the other thing, I do need to clip these because these cards, if you're not keeping tension on your warp threads, the cards just start flinging and flying everywhere. And then you have to spend time going back and making sure that everything is straight and the cards are in the right order. And I'm going to magic clip my card protocol. I'm going to use a magic clip to clip my cards together to keep those together and help keep this straight. And my excess warp right now, to keep all of this straight, I'm going to take my end and I'm going to crochet this up like this, just to keep this a little organized until I'm ready to start weaving. And what I'm going to do now is take a break. When you see me again, I may or may not be wearing this outfit. We'll see if I come back to this today or not, or if I come back to it tomorrow. We'll see. I'm not sure yet. I'm really excited to use the shuttle. But right now, I am done for right now. I've got this set up. And, I need some lunch. That's what I need right now. And we're back. It's day 2 of the tablet weaving adventure. Yesterday, spent a lot of time trying to get all of this straightened out and organized, but perseverance, we stuck with it, and we are finally here, ready to weave, I hope. So what I need to do now is actually load up my shuttle and then get myself attached to this. Also, just a quick note, I am bringing in another couple of tools, and that are these popsicle sticks. You will see why I have these now in a moment. And you're also going to see just how messy my desk is. This is real life crafting, okay? I'm not doing anything fancy for cameras. This is like real life. This is what it's like when I craft. Let's go ahead and we're gonna just load up the shuttle. I'm using color A for my weft thread, so it's going to match the selvage edges of the band. Yeah. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just wrap this in a figure 8 configuration, thusly.
Yes, yes, loading a shuttle is very exciting. Very exciting video. I think we'll just skip right on ahead to me getting set up with the backstrap.
So here's my belt that I'm not a big belt person. I don't love wearing belts, truth be told. But for science and crafting, I will deign to put on a belt. I think I'm going to just tuck this under my belt, which is what I saw most people do. I'm going to just loosen this up and bring this towards the camera so you can see it. I just took a magic clip and I clipped the warps to the belt. Now I can scooch back and create enough tension. And I'm going to move the cards closer towards me. So one of the videos that I watched, the woman used a cord. Oh my god, I'll tell you a little bit about this video once we start weaving.
Actually, no, I'm going to tell you about the video now because this is like the natural place to do it. So one of the videos that I watched that actually helped me quite a bit, and there will be a link for it down in the description box, but I think it was probably made in the late 70s, early 80s, and the colors. It's all like burnt reds and browns, and the music is like, there's music in the like little interstitials between segments of the video, and I think it was trying, I don't know what it was trying to be. I think it was trying to be kind of like a Native American indigenous sound, but it sounded like, I can't remember the name of that place. It's either in Arizona or New Mexico. It's a particular city that's kind of known for being very new agey. I felt like it was trying to invoke that. Or it was like, it wasn't exactly spa music, but the music was killing me. It was very dated. But the information in the video was very helpful. Very helpful information.
But a woman used a piece of cord that she put right here at the base to kind of help these threads stay flatter. I'm going to do the same thing, but with popsicle sticks. So I'm going to just put a popsicle stick here in the first shed, thusly. And now I'm going to turn the cards. My first time turning the cards! Okay. Hey. Go me. So all the cards are turned, and then I'm going to use the second popsicle stick. Get those 2 popsicle sticks in there. I watched a lot of weaving videos before I started this, and I got the idea for popsicle sticks from another weaving video. And that was actually being done on a loom, but it just seemed like a good idea. So I got those 2 set up, and now I'm going to just turn just to trap those popsicle sticks in. Okay, we are ready to actually do some weaving. So here's my shuttle. I'm going to do my first pick. I think that's what it's called, a pick. And I'm going to do this so that the yarn is facing away from me towards the card, and this flat part of the shuttle is towards me, because I will use this to pack in my weft. So I'm going to just put this in first. I'm going to leave this tail here. Put that down on my lap real quick. And now I'm going to turn my cards. And I'm going to, actually this time I'm going to turn them towards me. I'm not really starting the pattern yet. But I'm going to turn them towards me to start taking out some of the twist in the yarn that I created when I put them forward.
Okay, so at this point, things start getting boring from a video perspective because I started weaving. And yes, there were issues as I wove, but basically, this was pretty straightforward. Honestly, the hardest part of tablet weaving is getting everything set up. Once it is, and you start weaving, it's fine. Like I said, but let me explain some things about tablet weaving in case you don't know anything about it. You can turn the cards either away from you, which is forward, or towards you, which is backwards. Some patterns, you're always turning the cards in one direction, and when that happens, all this twist builds up behind the cards, and at some point, you gotta get that twist out of the yarn. The pattern I was doing was called balance, meaning I was doing 4 twist forward and then 4 backwards. So I would move my cards forward, twist would build up, then I would move my cards backwards, and that twist would come out. So I never had to worry about twist building up behind the cards. Okay, so that all worked well. So anyway, with all that said, I'm going to skip past a lot now because frankly, it's not the most exciting TV, YouTube, video, and there are videos by people who've actually are experienced in this who can explain everything to you in terms of how to manage your tail and everything. This video is not really an instructional video. This video is a more purpose of is to say, hey, this is what it's like when you weave, tablet weave for the first time. And it's incredibly long already because it took me so damn long just to get things set up. I'm gonna turn my cards again. Clear the shed. Now I'm gonna do my next turn. Clear the shed, pass through, pack. All right, so I've done my 4 forward passes. I think I might have made a mistake somewhere. Because there's these blues right here, but I might just go with it and we'll see what happens. Now, notice down here all this twist that's building up, right? I'm gonna now do my passes towards me and that twist should come out. So I'm gonna now twist the cards towards me. I forgot to pack, so we'll just go ahead and pack it now. Pack that wet. Pack that wet. Pack that wet. Yeah, so once I was into the weaving, I have to say it was really relaxing. It was really enjoyable. I got into a nice rhythm of turning the cards, passing the weft through, packing the weft. No, it was beating the weft. Beating the weft. Beating the weft. But I got into a nice rhythm with it. And I definitely ran into some problems. The biggest one being I did something when I warped the cards that the pattern ended up on the wrong side. And I'll show you that right now. Now, something that happens as you weave is as you make your band, you have to take some of the band and tuck it further down into your belt and bring it forward in order to progress the work so you can keep working along the the unwoven warp. So I can now do a little bit of that. So I'm just taking this band and I'm pulling it out further, and I'm just taking my magic clip and putting it there across the band. Something else though I wanted to show real quick. I'm going to turn this over and you can see there's a totally different pattern happening on this side. And I think that this is actually what I'm supposed to be getting. So I think I do have my cards turned the wrong direction. And that this is actually the front of the band and this is more the back of the band. So my cards, here's what I think happened. Here are my cards, A, B, C, and D. But if you look at the pattern, it goes from the bottom of the chart going A, B, C, and D. I think because of the way that I labeled my cards, I actually needed to do it in the reverse order and have A at the top, B, C, and D. So I think that is why the pattern ended up on the underside when I was doing the weaving. I think that's what happened. What I ended up doing was taking the band and turning it upside down as I wove so I could see the pattern on the front. I'm not sure if that was the wisest thing to do or not, but that's what I did. And then I continued on with my weaving. And this is what I made. Ooh. Not bad for my first time, I don't think. This is the underside, by the way. This is what it looked like on the wrong side. This, by the way, is the right side. This is the right side. Not exactly diamonds. They're almost more like teardrops, but I like it. It's cool. There are places, like right here. This is a little loop of yarn right there. One of the pieces of advice you get when weaving is when you bring your weft through, not to bring it all the way through, but leave a little loop behind. And then when you do your next pick, tighten up the loop, and that will help keep your sides, your selvages, even. Well, a couple times I forgot to tighten up my loops. So I have a couple of random loops here. The other thing that happened, though, there were a couple places like right here where the selvage didn't seem to actually get woven. I don't know why that happened exactly. That will be something to look at and see if I can do better in the future. But I think for my first attempt at doing any kind of weaving, really, it didn't turn out badly. I could easily turn this into a headband. That'd be quite attractive. That's something I could do with some with some card weaving, or tablet weaving. I could also use this to make bag handles for knitted bags. I could totally see myself doing that with this, or even making bracelets. So there are definitely practical applications for this craft. The big question is, do I care to try this again, especially after the trauma of trying to set up my warps and manage them and get set back up in the backstrap and everything? And honestly, I want to keep trying this some more. Once I was into the weaving, it was very enjoyable. It was very relaxing. I think that with practice, I just get better at it. So there's no reason for me not to. And I think I just need to learn how to better manage those warps when getting set up. So that was my tablet weaving experience. What do you think? I would love to hear your thoughts, your reaction. Are you curious about tablet weaving? Have you heard about it before? Do you want to try it? Do you have any tips for me because you have done this before and you're like, oh, honey, there's just so much you don't know, because there's so much I don't know. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your crafting friends. If you'd like to follow me on social media, you can find all that information down in the description box. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. All of these things help YouTube know that this is a space worth checking out. I hope that you have a wonderful day, evening, weekend, weeknight, whenever you may be watching this. And as always, happy health and happy crafting. Bye!